Hey. Important topic tonight. This one actually tonight's topic came from last night's live. I was asked about, Victoria asked me this question last night. She asked me about mentors. How do I find them? How do you find a mentor? How do they become your mentor, etc.? And so I'm going to talk about that tonight. Just going live here so I know if there's comments, I can see them. Awesome. Okay. So that was the question that was posed last night. Super appreciate everyone who was on the live last night. We talked a lot. And last night we talked about things about writing a book. So if you want to write a book, go back and watch my last live from last night where I share the different tools that I use to write a book. But tonight, I'm going to talk about mentors, how to find them, and how to get in their circle. So, and if you have a question for me tonight, make sure you post it in the comments. I'll answer those for you. Excuse me. So the big thing is like, why do you need a mentor? How do you find them? How do you identify that they should be someone that could mentor you? And then how do you approach them, especially if you don't know them, so that they could potentially be a mentor, right? So again, this question came from Victoria last night. So again, if you have a question, put it here. It might be the topic of one of the upcoming lives. So super excited for that. So if you're on here watching, make sure you mention where you're watching from so I can, hey, Victoria. So Victoria, thank you for watching. This is your question from last night. So I'm going to address it this evening. Okay. So how do I identify who a mentor should be? And hopefully you have one in your life or multiple mentors. I think that, Victoria, you're welcome. I think that it's important, right? It's important to have mentors. I've had many, I shouldn't say many, but I've had several mentors and they've all been positive influences for me. And they've done a lot for me. So how do I find mentors? How do I get them into my circle? So here's the identifier for me. I'll put this up here, right? They have been or are where you want to be. That is so crucial of a step. So if you're going to take notes on anything tonight, that would be something I would take. There's lots of people who want to give you advice. Lots of people who want to give you advice. And that's not really what we're looking for. What we're looking for here, just got back from the gym and out of the shower. So I got the hat on. What you're looking for here is they have been or where you want to be, meaning they've already accomplished it or they are currently accomplishing it, because you need their wisdom. You don't need their advice. You need their experience and their wisdom to go through it. So for instance, when I met Dave Jenks, who was one of my early mentors in business, he had already helped national brands or small companies become national brands. So that was something that I knew he could help me with, right? He'd already done it. So I didn't need his thoughts on it. I needed his experience and what he'd been through. And that was super powerful. So if you're starting a business right now, or if you're wanting to grow your business, finding a mentor right now. What's up, Victoria? What's up, James? This is important because these mentors will be the ones who will help you go where you want to, because they've done it, right? Like right now, Corey's my COO. We're going to an event in 3 weeks. $3,000 a ticket for a day and a half event. But the day and a half is a small group of people, and both of the people, the mentors who are teaching this, have scaled. One of them has scaled a business and it's currently doing multiple seven figures. The other has sold 2 businesses doing multiple 7 figures. So these are guys that I want to learn from because they've done that. They've taken a business to where I want to be. And so I'm going to do everything I can to learn from them. I'm going to get in their proximity. And I'm going to share with you how I did that in just a second. Again, so just to recap, this is the key. They have been or are where you want to be. This is so crucial, right? This is the most important thing. Jenna, what's up? Welcome. Again, if you guys have questions for me, make sure you put them in here. But this is the key to finding a mentor. They have been or where you want to be. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you exactly how I did it. So I told you a story of how several of these mentors, and then these two that I'm going to be with at the end of the month, $3,000 for the day to spend with them. But here's how I did it, right? You might have a mentor because they have accomplished something. And a lot of times, just here's a clue for you. A lot of times, they're not somebody you know right now, right? Because everyone you know would have already helped you get where you are. These are people that you've got to do research and look for, read their books, right? This is why I've got all these books right here. I read these books. These are a lot of the people I have up here have either spoken at my events or I'm friends with now because I've reached out to them. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what you got to do. The second thing you got to do is you got to get in proximity to them. You got to hang out in their circles, and I'm going to show you how to do that, right? And how to get in proximity with them. But that's the key. I shouldn't say never, but it's rare that you're going to shoot an email or a LinkedIn post. I get this all the time. Chaz, would you help me grow my business? And I get it through a LinkedIn post. I've never met this person. They've never bought my books, right? I talked to you guys about my books last night, 5+1, and Now Make Good, my second one. I'm working on the third book right now. So they've never bought my books. They've never been part of Master Networks. They've never been to my events, et cetera. And it's like, hey, would you mentor me? And they've never participated. They don't get into proximity to where I'm at. And so if you're looking for a mentor, you've got to get in their circle. You're not going to be on their radar if you're not in their proximity. What's up, Todd? Long time, man. Hope you're doing well, man. And so to find these mentors, you've got to get in their proximity. You've got to get in their circle. They've got to have an awareness to who you are. And I'm going to show you 2 ways to do that. And then the third really big, important key. Okay. And again, if you have a business question, make sure you type it in here. In fact, the topic for tonight came from Victoria, who's on here right now. She was on last night and she wrote this in as a question. And so I'm approaching it tonight. So if you write a question, I'll either answer it tonight or it'll be the topic for tomorrow. Okay. So here's the first thing that you're going to need to do. Okay. The first thing is you're going to, and you can do one of these 2 that I'm going to talk about. And either one is okay, right? Not one is not better than the other. They're both important and they're both equally as effective in your way to get in front of people, right? And the first is to buy your way into their proximity. And some people, when I say that, they're like, that feels cheap, right? But I just mentioned it to you, right? Do you think that people, Victoria, and I know you brought this up and it's really important, right? I appreciate it, Todd. Glad to see you're doing well, my man. Look, these 2 books that I've written, right? 5+1, Now Make Good. The reason why this is important is like Victoria, I know you've purchased both these books, right? I just know that because I know Victoria now. Victoria is on my radar and my proximity because she's bought both books. She's been to my workshops when I come to Louisiana. She bought a ticket to our event in Connect here in Dallas in April, which I have a special announcement in just a second. So for those of you who are coming to Connect, I have a really cool thing here. Hang on. Okay. She's done all of those things. And so she bought her way in some ways into that proximity. Every entrepreneur, what good entrepreneurs do is they pull out their wallet, they take out their credit card, and they invest in things. So some of the mentors that I've bought their books. These gentlemen that I talked to you about that I'm going to their workshop at the end of the month, it's $3,000 a day for both me and my COO. And we're spending that to go. Why? Because now I'm in their proximity. I've entered into their world. Don't expect people, especially if they offer this stuff for a service and you're like, I'm going to sneak my way through that. I'm not going to pay for those services, right? I'll get to know them and then they'll just offer this advice for me. Such a bad way to do it. Such a cheap way to do it. One time I was giving somebody some advice recently and they said, hey, they had this problem. They're like, could you help me with it? Like, absolutely. I've actually solved that issue before. And they're like, awesome, appreciate it. And I said, it would be $300. Excuse me, I said wrong number. I said, it would be $1,500. It would take me 30 minutes to help you get through that. They're like $1,500 for that 30 minutes. I said, no, it's not the 30 minutes. It's the 10 years that it took me to figure that out. I'm going to save you by walking you through that, right? And so the best thing to do is to buy your way into their proximity because they've earned that and now you're in there. And the second way I kind of just alluded to is you earn your way into their proximity. So how do you do that, right? You show up. You're always qualified to be in their proximity. So you earn your way in, right? You earn your way into their proximity. You show up to things. Maybe you are in a sales position, or you do great things. Like, for example, I love to hear success stories, people who've read my book and then they go out and implement that and their business explodes. And then they tell me these things that they've done and how that's affected their business. And that sort of earns their way into the circle. Or people who are in our network and they've done amazing things to earn their way in. Or how about this? How about somebody I've been on his podcast, he's been on mine, right? He earned his way into proximity because he said, hey, let me have you on my podcast. And then he connected me to other people and I was on their podcast, right? So he gave me great value. And so he earned his way into that proximity, and I likewise did for him. Like, I earned that way. So again, the recap, the 2 ways to get into proximity: buy your way. There's nothing cheap about that. There's nothing that like lessens it because you buy your way in. It's a really important thing, right? Again, if you guys have any questions or comments on this, or you've had experience, excuse me, make sure you share that in the comments. Or if you have a question about it, make sure you share that. Yeah, my buddy Ken Walls. Ken is on here often. He's not on right now, but he's on here often. He's a guy that's earned way, and the second way, he's earned his way into proximity because he invited me onto his podcast, right? And I was like, oh, that's super cool. This guy just invited me on his podcast. I was on, then he connected me to other people. Super amazing. And that was a great way to earn into proximity, right? And then the last thing to do when you actually get their time is add value to their life. Don't waste their time, right? Don't waste their time. I had a gentleman one time fly across the country. I've actually had it a number of times, fly across the country to come meet with me and said, hey, I want 2 hours of your time. Here's what I'll pay. I have this challenge. I need you to help me solve it. 2 hours of your time. Flew across the country, came, sat down in my office. You guys, seriously, from the moment he walked in my office to the time he left, it was his whole story from like 5 years old to now, everything about his story. And I don't even know if he ever asked me a single question. I sat there for 2 hours listening to the story. It was incredible. It was incredible. I realized, and then he left, and I thought he didn't add any value, and I didn't add any value to him because it was all about him the whole time. So he did all the right steps, right? He got in proximity with me, which was the first thing, right? Then the second thing is he bought his way in. He said, look, I'll pay for your time. And then he earned that way in. He flew in. But this was the step he missed. He didn't add value, and it was a complete waste of time. In my opinion, it was a complete waste of time. I couldn't even help him get to the problem because he never asked the questions. He never got to it. So when you're looking for mentors, in my opinion, it's really important to go get people who have been or are where you want to be. And then you get in their proximity, you get in their circle. And you can do that one of 2 ways. You can buy your way in, go to their events, buy their books, buy their courses, whatever they have, buy their product from their business. And then the second way is earn your way into their proximity. And I think in most cases, I've had to do both. I haven't been able to earn my way into somebody's circle without buying their stuff. Honestly, I have so many books, so many courses, so many things here, bags, gear, merchandise, software, whatever it is. What's up, Kyle? Because I've bought my way into somebody's circle and then I'm on their awareness, and now I've earned my way in by implementing or showing up to their stuff or, being on podcasts or whatever it might be, right? And then I've always tried to add value. So because of that, I'm going to share kind of a cool thing that happened, and especially for those of you who are coming to connect. And if you want information to our event, by the way, we're now 85% sold out. We will sell out next week. It's a 3-day event, and this actually ties into this. This is super cool. This is what happens when you're intentional about getting a mentor in your life and connecting with people, right? And the networking effect that happens. So one of the gentlemen that I have been working with, and we're doing both, like we're adding value to each other to get into each other's circle, called me up and he said, hey, I've got somebody that when I tell you their name, you're going to know who it is. And I think he wants to be on your podcast. In fact, I'll make the connection for you. He's selling a book right now. I'm like, awesome, send him my way. So he tells me who it is. I'm blown away. I'm like, wow, of course I know who this is. Guy's sold millions of books in the business and personal development space. I'm like, I'm a little bit intimidated, honestly. And the gentleman calls me and says, hey, I'd love to be on your podcast. And I said, that's awesome. Love to have you on the podcast. So again, now they're adding value. I said, tell you what, though, I know you're trying to sell a book. He said, yeah, I need to sell so many copies by the end of April. I said, okay, what if I buy a bunch of books, right? Here you go. Buy away into proximity. And he says, wow, you do that? I said, yeah, I'll buy 300 copies of your book. He's like, wow, really? He said, if you buy 300 copies, he said, I have a deal right now. If you buy 100 copies of my book, you can come out to my house. I'm doing a launch party. You can come spend the day with me and anyone else who buys 100 copies of my book. I'm like, awesome. I said, how about better? I'll buy 300 copies and you come speak at my event and I'll introduce your book to a bunch of people. And so he agreed. How cool is that? But I can't tell you who it is because I haven't announced it yet of who this amazing, incredible speaker is going to be at our event Connect. So for those of you who are on here, I know there's several, I'd love to see if you could guess who it is. It'd be pretty cool if anyone guesses it. How about if you're on here and you guess who it is, I'll actually introduce you personally to this individual. Although I don't think anyone's going to guess it, but it's pretty amazing. Highly, highly recognizable name. Sold a ton of books. Probably top 5 author for book sales on entire planet Earth. Legitimately. So how did that happen? Bought my way into his proximity after I was introduced. But now I'm adding value to his life and I'm not wasting his time. That's a key component. So I hope this was helpful, like as you try to think about how do I find a mentor? And then more importantly, now after I've found one, how do I get into their circle? How do I come into their environment so that oh, that's a good guess, Kyle. That's a good guess. It is not, but that is a really good guess. He guessed Gary Vee. Well, that'd be kind of cool. If anyone knows Gary Vee, I'd love the introduction. I'll buy his stuff too. That would be cool. Although we have kids coming to our event. Renee, that's a really good guess. That's a really good guess. I would love that one too. But Gary Vee would be awesome. Gary Vee would be cool. Although the problem is we have kids connecting. Gary likes to swear, and I don't know how I feel about that with all the kids in the room. Like we have about 25, 26. We had 27 Kids Connect tickets sold as of the other day. So we're 85% sold out. We're going to do this. We're going to sell this out probably this week, if not mid next week when I go to Lubbock, Texas. I'm going to Lubbock next week to talk through it. So we'll probably Kyle, Jay Papson. That'd be awesome too. Although Dave Jenks is going to be there and he's written a lot of books with Jay. And Brendan Burchard's a good guest too. Those are really good guesses. You guys that's really thinking. It is not any of those, although it's one of those that you're going to be like, when you know the name, you're like, oh my gosh, how did you make that happen? So it's going to be super cool. For those of you coming to Connect, I cannot wait. So please do me a favor. If you're coming to Connect, do everything you can to make sure you're there through the entire event. Do not leave early because you will regret it big time. I promise. And this happens every year. People leave early Saturday, mid Saturday. And then we have this special thing that happens at the end and, a third of the audience misses it. So make sure you stay. Bill Gates, that would be awesome. Maybe I hyped this up too much like Bill Gates. Tim Ferriss. You guys are getting warm. You guys are circling this pretty well. So anyway, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be cool. We're going to hang with this person on Saturday at Connect. So I got the signed agreement. I bought the books. It is a done deal. It will happen. And everyone who's at Connect will get a copy of this brand new book, although it does not release before we're at Connect. So we'll have to mail them all out. But I'm super excited about it. Anyway, did you find that helpful tonight? And if you have a question, I'll do a live about it. This question tonight about mentors was from Victoria. Victoria also had another question that I'll probably address on another Facebook Live, and that is public speaking. How did I start that? Do I ever get nervous? Which I do. And I'll address that as well because a lot of people have asked me recently, like writing a book that I did last night. A lot of people have asked about public speaking and how do I start that? How do I get good at that? I'm doing an event next week in Lubbock, Texas. I'm doing an event the week after that in Dallas. I was just in New York last week. So I'm getting more and more opportunities to speak, and that's a great way to expose our brand. And so if you want to speak, I will do that as well. Hal Elrod, yes. He's in Texas too, and I actually have a really strong connection between one of Hal's best friends I know pretty well. So you'll just have to see, maybe. What's up, Carrie? Renee? Thank you, Renee. Good guesses. Really good guesses. So that's what we're working on for Connect. If you're coming to Connect, bring somebody with. They're going to be blown away with what we're providing. We're also giving away a bunch of stuff. Kyle says, will you speak at my event in June? Kyle, when in June and where? June's a pretty busy month for me. I have a couple family vacations. I would be honored to speak at it. I don't know what event this is, but I would be honored. See, look, there you go. Just being on a Facebook Live and somebody asked me to speak at their event. So would that be a topic you guys are interested in? Ooh, it's online. I can make that work. If you want to learn more about speaking at events, getting paid to speak at events, that's also, a lot of people speak at events, but not everyone gets paid to speak at events. So if you'd like to hear more about that, I would be glad to share that as well. Cool. Kyle, let me know. Send me the info on that. I'd be glad to do that. And I could also get you some amazing, great people who could also speak if you're looking for more speakers. There's a lot of them. Oh, someone just messaged me too. Here's the website. Sorry, I took that down. attend-connect.com. If you're a business owner, this is not for Master Networks only. So if you're a business owner and you want to come, it's a 3-day, April 16th, 17th, and 18th. Let me put that up there in just a second. It is April 16th through the 18th in Dallas, Texas. So let's do that one. That's where it is. That's where we're at. Okay. So come join us for that. It's going to be an awesome event. We also have a charity that we're supporting at this, Operation Underground Railroad. They free kids from child sex trafficking. And it's an amazing, amazing organization. The problem is the U.S. is the #1 producer and consumer of child pornography. And so we're going to take this dark subject and we're going to bring a lot of light to it and raise some money for this amazing organization. So super awesome. Yeah, Kyle, send me that information and we'll talk about the online event. Hopefully you guys found this helpful to how you connect with a mentor. So identify them, write a list of people. I always have a top 20 list of people I want to connect with. I have right now about 18 people on the list that I have not been able to connect with. It's amazing how just writing it down and then asking people if they know them, how easily you'll connect. It's a small world. And so if you put names out there and you start to ask people if they know them, hey, do you know anybody on this list? Do you know any of them? If you do, could you connect me? It's amazing what can happen. Make sure you do that. Okay. Awesome. Hopefully this was helpful. And so write down a list of names of who you want to have in your circle. You want to have them mentor you. It could be business, health, spiritual, whatever it is, and again, the criteria is they have been or are where you want to be. Get in their proximity, buy your way into their proximity by buying their courses, their books, etc., their events, go to their events. I mean, look, it's pretty amazing that my 12-year-old and I just spent some time with Tony Robbins, but I had to pay for that, right? I had to pay, and that's a priceless opportunity for my son at 12 years old to sit at his feet for 4 straight hours. Incredible. But I had to pay my way into that, right? And now, if I do what he's asked that group to do, I can earn my way into his proximity. It's going to be a hard earn, but that could happen, right? Now, if I get that opportunity, the last step is I'm going to make sure I add value and I don't waste his time. So that's the key. So look, if you want to get into proximity with people, what's up, Tommy? Glad you could join. Sorry, it's kind of right at the end. We were talking about how to find mentors and how to get in their circle. Tommy is a great example of that recently. He's just got involved with Master Networks, came to my event in St. Louis. signed up for our event Connect. So he's done this, right? He's bought his way, and now he's earning his way by showing up and doing the things that we teach to get into proximity. So super excited. It's just an awesome way to build value. Okay. What's up, my man? So again, if you want to get into proximity with people, myself, some of the speakers that I have coming to Connect, go to attend-connect.com. Literally, we're almost sold out. I think we have 35 tickets left. That's it. That's all we have. In fact, we're at the hotel today to see if we could extend into one of the rooms if we needed to. And unfortunately, we cannot. There's some like fire code thing or some nonsense like that, right? So anyway, come to Connect. Come be with us. Come hang out. Oh, Renee, it is not Dean Grazioso, okay? However, I have a connection that I'm working to earn and buy my way into his circle, so I get to be in proximity with him. I think he would be a great person. I think he'd be a great speaker at Connect next year. So I'm glad you brought his name up, because that's definitely somebody that's on my radar that I am working on trying to connect with, and I have a connection there. So stay tuned on that one. That was a good guess. That was a really good guess. Nobody has guessed it, but you guys are getting warm. So kind of exciting. I like the anticipation for Connect. So anyway, thanks for being on here tonight. Appreciate you guys. Leave a question, and I will approach it tomorrow night or the night after, probably the night after, on Facebook, and I will address it. So make sure you share this post if it was helpful, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Oh, you just committed to KBB this week? Yeah, that's good. I bought that program as well. I went through it. It was really good. And we use that as we help to build Connect. So if you guys don't know what that is, it's Knowledge Business Broker. So it's like, it's taking knowledge from people, like let's say this whole group that's watching right here, and organizing that, say, into like a mastermind event or something like that. It's a great way to put other people's expertise in a room and then actually make money on it. So it's pretty cool. You're killing me. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry. I can't tell you. I cannot tell you. I have been sworn to secrecy. In fact, not even everyone in our office. I know Carrie's watching, but not even everyone in our office knows who it is, because it's that tight-lipped. This is going to be cool, though. It's going to be cool. I don't think I'm overhyping it. I think this is that big. I really do. So for those of you that are asking, no, it's going to be cool. All right, everybody. We will see you. Have a good night. Talk to you soon.